Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/spookshow. Then go over to morbidlybeautiful.com as we are now part of the Morbidly Beautiful Podcasting Network.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
You vote too! You vote too! You vote too!
Everybody here dies by dawn. Dead by dawn!
Welcome to the Spookshow. Hello and welcome back to the All-American Spookshow podcast. I'm joined here with Tiana.
Hey.
And the Professor Smoke.
What's up?
Donnie couldn't be with us, and that's unfortunate for sure. Just like last week, he wasn't able to be here. He's got some stuff going on. But it's unfortunate, doubly unfortunate this week, because this is his movie. He picked it and couldn't be here to talk about it. He did give us his rating, and we'll let you know what that is later on. But the movie that he selected was House on Haunted Hill from 1959. It's kind of technically 1958 because it did debut in late 1958, but it's listed everywhere as 1959. So it's like a weird release thing. But like movies back then didn't release quite the way they do now, you know. So
yeah,
and we'll get into that. But Tiana, what's your history here? Have you ever seen this movie before?
Oh, yeah. A few times.
I could,
and then probably not too long ago, actually, before just today.
I can't even put a number on this. I've seen this a bunch,
Yeah.
but it has been a while. Like, you know, probably within the last 5 years, but you know, give or take. So it's been a minute, but like, you know, it never stays too far off my playlist. So Smoke, what about you?
Yeah, I'm probably the same way as far as, you know, seen it a lot of times, but even in more recent years since we've been together, probably at least 3 times. There's probably at least a third time that we've seen it together. And I mean, you know, granted that's a little over 10 years, 3 times in 10 years, but even before that, more times, you know,
I think
I don't know, more than a handful of times.
I'm pretty sure I know I've got this thing on DVD or Blu-ray, but I didn't feel like digging it out. So,
well, one thing is, before we get into it though, is the fact that this thing lost its copyright in 1988.
Yeah,
it wasn't ever picked back up again. So I have it. I don't know. I need to look into this because I don't know if anybody's released a truly legitimate remastered version of it. Because the version I have is the 100 greatest horror films of all time cheap set that like Millhouse from The Simpsons put it out. You know,
everything's coming up Millhouse.
Mill Creek or whatever. One of those cheap DVD distributors put it out. You know, all these collection of like basically
Mill Creek is notorious for
public domain.
Mill Creek is notorious for like, here it is on DVD. That's about all you can say about it. Like, they basically took it and took it from a VHS dub or something. Put it on DVD, and here it is. It's almost always a shitty transfer.
Yeah. So I don't know if there. I feel like there's probably got to be. I don't know though because I didn't look into this aspect of it.
All I know is this. So I've got a copy of it somewhere, like you probably. I don't know what version, whatever. Right. I didn't feel like digging it out, so I looked around on streaming. And the way I first watched it was on Amazon Prime, and the version that was on there didn't look all that great. So I was like, surely there's got to be a better version, right? So I saw that Tubi had it, of all places. I flip over there, and they have multiple versions of it on Tubi. Like, I want to say 4 to 6 different versions of this movie, because there's a colorized version. I think there's a couple, like 1 or 2 different language versions. But the one that I landed on had like the original poster on Tubi. So if you go to like, say, I don't know, House on Haunted Hill's IMDb or Wikipedia page, and you see that original poster, it's that same one on Tubi. I'm just letting you know if you want to go look for it. It was some kind of remaster by someone. I don't remember what it said. It said something at the beginning. This has been digitally remastered by, you know, Johnny and Frank or whatever the hell it was. It looked really good. Like, not as good as last week when we watched the Beastmaster, that 4K shit, but like, for a copy of House on Haunted Hill, it looked really good. So my advice to you would be to go seek out the one, at least that one that's been remastered by somebody that was on Tubi. It looked pretty solid to me. And I'm watching it on my, 70-inch 4K in the living room, so it looked good. So
I forget, what did we watch it on? We watched it on streaming something, but it wasn't, it wasn't Tubi.
It's on multiple streamers, so God knows, because like you said,
yeah,
it's one of those, it's almost free reign on this movie, right? So it's It's on a bunch of.
Well, like I said, I had it on that set, but I didn't even bother pulling it out of that set because it's not going to be any better, and probably worse than any streaming thing. Or at least equally as bad as any streaming thing, except for the one, like you said, that you found that was more than halfway
that
decent.
Random one, that was on there. That was clearly like a VHS transfer. So it just looked bad. It didn't look. It looked like you're watching an old episode of 60s television or something. It just looked bad.
Yeah,
it didn't look. It wasn't great quality, but that one was though. The one on Tubi, at least one of the 4 or 5 or 6 that are on Tubi. You got to hunt it down. But
just have to click around, I guess, find the right one.
Just
the right language, not color.
Because I did not want to watch the colorized. I knew I didn't. I knew I wanted to avoid that because I usually do. So
yeah,
it was good. So go check that one out. But yeah, this is one I've seen multiple times. It's just been a minute. But before we get into the background, I want to remind you to go check out aaspookshow.com. Go to our YouTube page where just about every week we got something going on. We've got Hammer Horror and Order, which that's a good companion to this movie today, House on Haunted Hill, right? With the castle stuff. There's even a connection there with William Castle and the old dark house, right?
Yeah.
Video Vortex, Grindhouse Gutter. We've got Spookshow on Location, Spookshow on the Road. We've got 2 or 3 new series that are coming down the road before you know it. Coming up in the month of October, I believe. We're going to have some new fare to throw at you over on YouTube. So there's always something going on there. And you can get in on the ground floor of that and much, much more over on our Patreon page. Patreon.com/AASpookshow. Become a patron. You get episodes of the podcast early, which the podcast comes out every Monday at 6 p.m. East, the one you're listening to right now, either on your favorite podcast feed or on our YouTube channel. It comes out there every Monday at 6 p.m. East. But if you're a patron, you get them early, usually a day or 2 early. You're going to get them sooner than everyone else if you become a patron over there. So get with the cool kids, become a patron of the Spook Show. Lots of stuff going on there, lots of bonus content and all that. So we would appreciate it. It helps us out, and you get stuff faster and different stuff than anyone else gets. So we encourage you to do that. Some of the background here on House on Haunted Hill. It debuted, like I said, I saw various dates, but the earliest one that I could find is when it actually debuted December 17th of 1958. Very limited, a few cities. And then it eventually made its wider play by the time you got up to February 17th of 1959. And by that point, it was a double bill with a movie I have never seen before. Smoke, I don't know that you're probably the only one of us that may have seen this movie. It's a movie called The Cosmic Man.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Came out in 1959, and so House on Haunted Hill and The Cosmic Man played as a double bill there in February of 1959. It was produced by William Castle. I'm sorry, I should say it was produced by William Castle Productions. It was distributed by Allied Artists. It got an approved rating. So, this is before the MPAA ratings, right? So, it got approved. Total runtime of 1 hour and 15 minutes, so nice and tight. On IMDb, it's listed as a crime horror mystery. It was filmed in a few spots in and around Los Angeles, California, but in particular, the house, the actual house on Haunted Hill, the exterior of the house in particular, because most of this was shot in studio lots or whatever. But the actual exterior of the house is a house called the Ennis House there in Los Angeles. And I'm pretty sure it's still there to this day. That house is famous for being designed by famous architect, designer, a little bit of everything, author Frank Lloyd Wright. And that house was built in 1924. So it's a famous landmark type of thing there in Los Angeles. And it's been in tons of TV shows and other movies, including that show in the early 90s, Twin Peaks. It played some role at some point in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show, not the movie, the TV show. One of Smoke's favorites, the movie Blade Runner. It had a part in that. And one that surprisingly we have not got to here on the podcast, but I'm sure we will at some point or another, Predator 2. It popped up in that as well, but various other movies. I mean, you could go on and on about that, but yeah, the exteriors of this is called the Ennis House, and it's, I guess, quite a famous movie landmark type of house there in Los Angeles. But it was filmed there in the various places in LA from July 22nd to September 16th of 1958 for a budget of just $200,000, which, that's probably about right for the time, right? It's not like they got $1 million budgets back then. And it went on, it was pretty successful. It went on to gross $3 million. So, not gangbusters compared to today's standard of success, right? But I'm sure for that time, very successful. This movie is also known for, William Castle was kind of known for his gimmicks, his movie going gimmicks, right? And the one that this one kind of birthed is one called Emergo. the Emerjo gimmick, where apparently not every place that screened the movie, but a lot of the places that screened the movie had some kind of system of levers and pulleys and strings hooked up to where like they had a skeleton that would fly over you as you're sitting there in the theater watching it. So it would just, at that certain point in the movie, I guess towards the end, the skeleton.
Yeah, when the skeleton thing comes off in the rack.
Scares the living dog shit out of you.
Yeah.
So they called that Emerjo, which, once again, 1959, you'd probably shit yourself.
Yeah.
Also, so apparently, though, not every theater used it, or at least they stopped using it because some kids, because back then kids would bring their slingshots everywhere, I guess. Kids would shoot rocks and things at the skeleton when it was going overhead with their slingshots.
Yeah.
So some theaters discontinued using it for some of the duration of the movie, unfortunately. But I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if this movie's been re-released in theaters. I'm sure it's done its little runs in independent theaters. I don't know if it had like a Fandango wide release or whatever, but I would want to see it with the Emerjo.
Yeah.
In a theater somewhere,
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Because, well, even if it didn't, okay, let's say it's too much of a hassle to do something like that now. I would just love to see this movie 35 millimeter, at least redone so that it looks nice. Maybe that's why it hasn't, because there hasn't been a decent remaster done of it. Maybe, I don't know, but this movie I think would play well in the theaters. I would love to see those scenes that we'll talk about when we get to them, that probably would have had people jumping out of their skin in 1959 and 58 for sure, or whatever.
God, yes, yeah,
like just the opening credit part, that little gimmicky part of that. If you imagine that on a big screen with a decent sound system in a dark theater, or the old woman thing on the skates
the
thing. We'll get to that part too. The hag, any of those scenes would probably play really well, much better. I mean, they play well enough on your small screen. I've seen it enough times. I love this movie, but I would love. It is one I'd love to experience in the theater.
I'd imagine it probably had a pretty good run in the drive-ins too. During that time period. So, yeah, it would have been cool for sure. And from what I can tell, it has played at random film festivals stuff around the world over the years. So there has been chances probably, but nothing like around here probably wide. But it would be.
Yeah.
It seems like I saw something. This might have been like on a local, like around here in Charlotte one time, because there's a theater in Charlotte near me that plays a bunch of horror movies during October. And it seems like this might have played one time, House on Haunted Hill.
Oh, okay.
But
you think it might have played there?
It might have. It might have, but I did not go see it, and now I regret that. But yeah, that would have been cool. I don't know what I was doing that I felt was more fruitful than that, but at the time. But yeah, if they did play it, that would have been cool.
Weird.
Alfred Hitchcock, basically saw the success that this movie had from its extremely low budget, and it inspired him to make his own low budget horror movie, which a year or so later became Psycho. So, in some small way at least, we have House on Haunted Hill to thank for one of the greatest horror movies ever made, in Psycho.
Yep. And it paid off for, I'm sure this movie paid off for William Castle, but Psycho definitely paid off for Hitchcock.
Yeah. Well, even so, like apparently Hitchcock, I'm sorry, William Castle was a big fan of Alfred Hitchcock, of course, at the time, yes, they are contemporaries, but, Hitchcock had been around a long time even at that point. So he was a big fan of Hitchcock. So he made the movie, Homicidal, which was basically, which was basically an ode to Hitchcock, just a handful of years later. So yeah, there's all kinds of Hitchcock DNA here, one way or the other, right? Vice versa. In the movie, Vincent Price, of course, a lot of the decor in the house, the art pieces and stuff you see in that house, that was stuff that was actually owned by Vincent Price. I guess he loaned it to the production to kind of spruce the joint up, so to speak, because they didn't actually film it in his house, but just the exteriors. But yeah, wherever they filmed it, like a lot of the stuff you see there, the art pieces are Vincent Price's stuff. We had to bring it up. There was a remake of this movie in 1999, House on Haunted Hill. And that one was successful, at least enough to the point where they made a straight to DVD sequel to that movie in 2007, Return to House on Haunted Hill, which I know
in that faded year, I think. Isn't that the same year that House of Wax remake came out, or no?
God.
Closer in?
That, if not, that sounds about
right.
Jesus Christ.
Also involved, Dark Castle involved with that one too.
Oh, that later.
That was a little later, but yeah.
Yeah,
I saw the remake of House on Haunted Hill 3 times at the movie theater. Because finally, like, I felt like, there was crap out,
yeah.
towards the end of, 98,
Yeah,
99,
when you're
but
thirsty in the desert,
yeah.
I get it.
I feel like that is one of the best remakes of that they did.
You know
the
what?
Dark Castle thing.
I have
Yeah.
not seen it in so long.
Same.
I can't say
No.
whether, I can't say, but
They stay pretty close to this story. It's just, it's an asylum instead of just a haunted house.
what I remember of it, story-wise, you're right. It's fairly close. Like you said, there were some changes, but I remember, obviously, gore. There's more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Obviously, but
oh, yeah.
because this is almost non-existent in this,
Yeah. But Jeffrey Rush was the main guy, and I think that's what really.
Like I said, I remember seeing. I don't remember if I saw it in the theater or not. I don't remember. I might have. Like you said, at that time we were a little more devoid, so I might have. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing
I definitely
it, though.
didn't see any of the Dark Castle ones in the theater.
Oh, I know I saw, which I believe Ghost Ship was, right?
You saw Ghost Ship.
Yeah, I think
I keep forgetting that is a Dark Castle film.
Yeah.
Because I keep equating Dark Castle with William Castle, where the name comes from, but with William Castle remakes like 13 Ghosts.
Oh yeah, that was the
House on
second
Haunted
one.
Hill, or
You know what? Like it might, and what might be one of the bigger regrets of my life, because I don't remember. I'd have to go back and listen to the episode just to remember myself. I think I might have seen House of Wax in theaters. I think I did.
Oh yeah,
but I don't remember for sure. But God, that, like I said, one of the great regrets of life. I could have picked up smoking, and had more to show for my life in the end than watching that more than once throughout life. Anyways, yeah, I have not seen Return to House on Haunted Hill. I've seen that not original, that one from 1999. But yeah, the less said about that, the better. This is the better of those, right? Without question, in my mind. It was directed and produced by William Castle, like we mentioned already, who did Homicidal. He also did 13 Ghosts. We already did one of his movies, at least over on Hammer Horror and Order, when we did The Old Dark House. Remember, that's the one that he did with Hammer Films. So that's a classic. It's a great comedy horror for what it is. But to me, it's cool because it's a combination of William Castle and Hammer Films. Pretty sure that's the first and only time that happened. So that in and of itself, that makes it extremely unique. But there's that. Unfortunately, William Castle died fairly young. I mean, he died at the age of 63 in May of 1977. So he's no longer around, obviously. This movie was written and associate produced by Rob White, who also worked with William Castle on Homicidal and 13 Ghosts. He passed away at the age of 81 in November of 1990. The movie stars Vincent Price, which, by the way, this might have been a good question if Donny were here. How many Vincent Price movies have we done? Or have we even?
Yeah, I don't know. See, he's had to have been in some of them. He might not have done any that he starred in besides this one, but I'm sure we've done some that he's been in.
Surely
we haven't done abdominal the abominable Dr. Fives.
No, I know we haven't done that.
I mean abominable Dr. Fives.
Abominable. I know we haven't done that. I don't know, man. Dude, like, I'm struggling. Like, there might have been something I'm forgetting about, but I'm struggling to remember if we did. So which would be crazy. Here we are, almost 8 years in to this show, and we haven't done anything with Vincent Price in it. But there you go. It's a good possibility. But he's in this as the character of Frederick Lauren, who plays like the millionaire guy that brings this whole affair together in this haunted house. He starred in The Abominable Dr. Fives, like we just mentioned. He was also in Edward Scissorhands. Some people forget about that. Like literally one of, if not the last movie he was in, I think, was Edward Scissorhands, because he died at the age of 82 in October of 1993. So if Edward Scissorhands wasn't the last thing, it had to have been one of the last things that he did. Carol Omart plays his wife in the movie, Annabelle Lauren. She was in in some films called The Scarlet Hour, The Scavengers. I think she was more, I mean, she had a, fairly successful career, but I think she was kind of more known for like the tabloidish type of relationships and stuff she had at the time. But she passed away at the age of 74 in January of 2002. Richard Long as Lance. He's I guess, kind of the main guy in the movie other than Vincent Price. He would probably best be known for his long run on that Western series called The Big Valley. He was on that for years. And one of the I think it was the original Ma and Pa Kettle movie, just the one called Ma and Pa Kettle. Remember, there was like 8 of those movies or whatever.
Yeah.
He was in that. He died fairly young. He died at the age of 47 in December of 1974. I'd seen something where he had a number of heart attacks or something. He had some heart issues, and he passed away fairly young at age 47. Alan Marshall plays Dr. David Trent. Remember the doctor in the situation here. He had acted for quite some time before this. He was in the White Cliffs of Dover. Basically, almost all of early television, this dude is littered across it. Like, I'm talking like late 40s, throughout the 50s and early 60s TV shows. Like every TV show you can imagine of that time period, this dude was in at least one episode of it. He died not long after this movie. He died at the age of 52 in July of 1961. I believe I saw that he had passed away from a heart attack as well. So just 2 years after this movie, he passed. Carolyn Craig is Nora. Remember, she's the young girl that is the love interest, so to speak, or wannabe love interest of Lance throughout the movie. She was in the, James Dean movie Giant. She was in that. A few other things. Lots of early television, same as Alan Marshall. She, once again, another one that died very young. Matter of fact, she was very young in this movie. She was in her like early to mid 20s in this movie because she died at the age of 36 in December of 1970. That was, I believe, I had seen where she had died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So, about 10 or 11 years after this, unfortunately. But Elijah Cook. So it almost seems like it's kind of jinxed a little bit up to this point. Half these people, like, either some of them died at a ripe old 80-something years old, like most people, or something unfortunate happened to them, and then they died somewhat young, but I don't know if that has any, like, there's a curse or something like this on this, but you never know. Elijah Cook Jr. is Watson Pritchard. Now, he's the guy at the very beginning of the movie. Remember the floating head? The dude that owns the house that rents it to him? That guy. He was in a ton of movies, and TV shows too, but tons, like lots of big movies too, like The Big Sleep, The Maltese Falcon, all the way up to Rosemary's Baby. He was in that. He died at the ripe old age of 91, though. He had a long run, as compared to some of these other people. He died at age 91 in May of 1995, and he was pretty active all the way up to damn near the end too. Like he was still in stuff into his late 80s for sure. So. Elijah Cook Jr., great character actor of the past. So, did y'all have anything else you wanted to point out? I mean, I know I just threw a lot against the wall there, but did y'all have anything else you wanted to point out before we got into it?
Not other than we already talked about what I was going to mention about the Emerjo and the and that gimmick and the fact that I think that needs to make a return with this movie. And I think the William Castle, whatever you want to, whichever that handful of movies was that was at his prime, and he had all these various gimmicks for. I think they should do a tour of theaters and put all those gimmicks back in the theater thing for this same crew, right? Could do the tour, all these different theaters. I think that'd be something.
I didn't do a deep dive on him, but like William Castle is one of those dudes we should do a Spookshow spotlight on. Like, do a deep dive on him for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of his thing, though, right? These gimmicks, these Emerjo and these other kind of things.
Well, you remember the movie Popcorn that we did, right? That's kind of based on his type of gimmicky style. Like they had like a festival in this thing where they had all these, like, the seats were hooked up to like shock things and all that. He had stuff. Now I don't know what degree the shock was. If it was just a little buzzer thing, like whatever.
I remember something about
jump, but it doesn't deliver an actual electric shock. Like in Popcorn, but
it probably like a extreme vibration kind of thing that would like if it zizzed you, almost like a hand buzzer, like shake my hand.
Probably you feel something on it like that buzz.
Yeah,
like you said, a vibration rather than an electric actual shock.
But
they promoted it like an electric shock, right?
Yeah. They don't have like car batteries hooked up to the seats, and come see this movie, fucker. That's a thing of the past, the 50s, I guess, early 60s, where the gimmicks,
and if you want to say
that went into the drive-in era, and then just kind of died there, right? Like by the late 60s.
Well, it went into that grindhouse era too, I guess. Like if you want to say like the late 70s, early 80s, the barf bag thing. But at one point, we haven't done this movie yet. I'll do it on Grindhouse or one of or something else in the near future. But it's a movie that you probably heard of called Dr. Butcher, M.D. Zombie Holocaust was the original Italian name for it, but it hit grindhouses and all that in New York. 42nd Street is Dr. Butcher MD, and they had a butcher mobile that would go around, and it had like scantily clad nurses that were supposed to be taking your blood or doing whatever, So that type of promotion, and in the theater they had nurses and things too on hand. Like if you pass out from this movie, or that all these those types of gimmicky things that carried over into the 80s, but not into like major theaters like they would have been in the 50s.
I mean,
like the William Castle.
We don't have that anymore, but if you think about it, it just took on a different form. Like nowadays we have like 4DX theaters.
Yeah.
It's the same shit, right? Like, do you really need this to watch the movie? No, but it's a way to get another $5 or $10 or $15 out of you.
Oh yeah. And then nowadays there's even something above that, the Cosm theaters, right? That are I don't know if you've seen those, where it's even more immersive, where there's a dome. It's a dome screen, basically, with things happening above you, beside you, and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, I saw I think there's currently, as we speak about this, there's 3 theaters with, I think, plans to build like 3 or 4 more across the country. But I think there's one in Atlanta, randomly.
Yeah.
Los
LA,
Angeles, and maybe Dallas or Austin or something like that.
Yeah,
Austin
Dallas,
yeah.
That Austin area gets all the cool stuff, like Alamo and all that stuff. But I guess that's where the people are, so they go there. But the closest one to us here in our area will be Atlanta. So one of these days, maybe we got a spook show on the road trip on us one of these days.
Yeah, because they are doing Stephen King's It is being done.
That would be awesome.
In Cosm. Yeah. That's the first horror movie that I've seen.
But if you think about it, coming back to the point, that's kind of the William Castle gimmick of today, right? That stuff.
Yeah,
It's kind of what it is now. And the 4DX theater where the chair shakes.
Yeah.
And there's rain, if it rains in the movie, and there's smells, rain mist, stuff like that. It's the same gimmick.
Yeah, the 4DX. Now, the other thing, your basic AMC type theater, the closest you get to that, I don't know if they have an equivalent in other chains, but AMC has what's that, the screen called, the center one that we go to that has like rumble seats and all that. What do they call that?
Oh, the Prime.
Prime, I guess AMC Prime seating. They have rumble seats and loud, and much more speakers for the surround sound and things of that nature. And supposedly it's a clearer image too, I guess. Supposedly more pixels.
8K.
8K pixel. Yeah. So I mean, it's, even in your basic AMC theaters, they still try to do something it's not somewhat gimmicky because of the rumble seating, right, and all that stuff. But I mean, not on the same level, but you could say that's part of it.
It's like today's equivalent. Like I said, it's not like somebody hooking a skeleton at you, but it's pretty much the same kind of thing. I mean, like Cinemark has those wraparound screens they call ScreenX.
Oh, okay.
Where it's
I guess everybody's got their own little gimmick, right?
It's like a screen in front of you, and then there's like screens on the side of you, kind of.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think they throw shit or, any of that funky stuff, but it's 3 screens. But from what I've seen of it, it's super gimmicky because like they don't really use the screens that well, So
no, because I saw the Beetlejuice that way, and it was cool. But the only time they really used that was when they were in, the underground.
Yeah.
Section of the, the movie.
So it's just in small weird parts of the movie. So it's like
so I felt like it wasn't worth it.
Most of the movie, you're like, why the hell are these other screens here? Like, there's no,
Exactly.
Also, what I think about some of these gimmicks that they're employing now is not so much that it's a way to, sort of an homage or anything looking toward like, what's the name, William Castle or those type of gimmicks. I'm thinking it's more along the lines of the original theater gimmicks of you had theater before television. It was 4x3. Television came out with the same format, 4x3. So then theaters went basically 16:9 widescreen, right? Yep. So that was a gimmick to get you away from the TVs in your home back into the theaters because they were losing patronage that way or whatever. So then it's been this back and forth with home video market television and theaters doing gimmicks to get you back into the theater. So I think it's kind of, but I mean, it plays into being a gimmick and getting you into the theater the same way that William Castle did, but.
Now we have damn projectors. Everybody's buying.
Yeah, now people are buying
doing
projectors.
Their outdoor thing.
It's all cyclical. It all comes back around. Like the same issues. Like that's essentially what we got going on right now in today's cinema. It's like, you got something. You got something like the Odyssey that's probably made. It's fine for what it is. I guess I haven't seen it, but like it's made most of its money. Let's face it, probably because of that IMAX gimmick. Like it was filmed in IMAX. And they're making more money off of that because they can put it on that screen, So like it's made a little bit more of its hay there.
But they got to find ways to pull people into the theater again. Like they use, like you said, cyclical. Every time in the past, the home video or the home television viewing market has taken theater patrons. They have to find a way to get those patrons back in the theaters again.
Television came along.
And now you're competing.
TV,
go ahead.
Like you said, TV came along. They had to find a way. By the early 80s, home video came along. They had to find ways,
And that, what that was? That was surround sound too. That was when the more immersive surround sound in theaters became a thing, is to bring you back into the theaters because the home video market was taking a chunk of it, and that was one of the ways to do that.
And now the gimmick is IMAX, the smell-o-vision screens, all this bullshit that they have now, right? And then throw in multiple sequels, right? That's kind of that's the modern gimmick is. Well, we're that thing you like, we're gonna make 5 more of those. Come and see. So that's just the way it is.
But now the other thing they're fighting is the fact that a lot of streaming services, they just go straight to the streaming right away. I mean, the movies.
That's a whole.
Some they hold back depending on the company. Some you get in the theater like you did before it ever comes to screen, to home video. But now they're bypassing that. A lot of them are they'll put it in the theater at the same time, put it on streaming, or they'll just put it on streaming and not in the theater, or they'll put it in the theater for a short run of time before it goes to streaming, kind of like the old school way, but a much less shorter time now than it used to be.
I think it's just we'll get back to the point here in a second on House on Haunted Hill. But I think it's like there's a couple examples I'll give you recently. Obsession, right? Where like it's a small production that comes up out of nowhere and then just kills it, and then it had an extended run, added more screens, it grew, right? Then you got something like Masters of the Universe, where like it kind of shot out of a cannon as far as like screens and like, hey, everybody check this out. And then it didn't do well. And then it just kind of, quietly went away after 2 or 3 weeks and then gets put on Amazon Prime and does really well there.
Yeah.
So like, so it's a weird opposite universe.
You never, and it's really just these filmmakers trying to figure out what way is going to work for them. Like what is best for us to do. Really, it's a money making. They don't, they're making art, quote unquote, depending on, that could be debated on what level of art it is, whatever. But still, these are creative people making art, right? But they're making it for money. So whatever the best way is they can make money for, it's what they're trying to do. And sometimes putting it in theater by itself for a while is best, like you're saying with Backrooms or Obsession and that kind of thing. But to me, it seems like it's also more of those types of independent. Not that I'm going too far off topic and down the rabbit hole with this, but it seems like now those more independent films are doing better in the theater than your average blockbuster is.
I think it's like anything. I think it's like anything. It's not necessarily like an indictment on the machine, so to speak. I don't see it that way. I see it more as like it's a word of mouth thing. Like some things get shit on sight unseen sometimes, and then like because of poor word of mouth, it does not do well, and then it goes well. Like once again, I'll say Masters of the Universe. I enjoy it. Look, it ain't Citizen Kane, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Right. I enjoyed it. It's fun. It's goofy fun. And I would think if you're inclined to like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing you'll like. But so many people shit on it right out the gate. Nobody wanted to go see it. So there it flopped. Goes to Amazon, right? So sometimes some things get, sometimes justifiably, sometimes unjustifiably get, but that's a whole thing in and of itself. But we never saw Masters of the Universe in the theater, but not because we didn't want to, because we did want to, but we just didn't get a chance to. But
and it didn't help that it wasn't there long. So
like you said, it was only there for a short amount of time, and then it was gone.
But probably no more than 3 weeks wide, and then gone. But that is a different case too, because that was Amazon that made that, so they could probably afford we've made what we've made. Now just stick now
put it on a streaming service.
Just stick it on Prime because that's probably where they wanted to put it anyways. So
and really that just kind of, again, talk about those cycles, that kind of harkens back to the 80s home video boom. Whenever something would be like, what was the movie we just recently? Oh, well, Beastmaster.
Yeah,
the Beastmaster. Like that got put in theaters, didn't do as well as they expected it to do. It did okay, but then it did gangbusters when it hit video, HBO, TBS.
Yeah,
that's where it made its cold market at.
It absolutely did. Whether you liked it or not, you were going to watch it because because they were going to show the shit out of it. But they're like you said, cyclical. It all comes back around.
It's refreshment time, and our refreshment stand is loaded with good things to eat. There's crispy, crunchy popcorn, and hot, delicious buttered popcorn. Lots of candy, and frosty, refreshing cold drinks. Why not treat yourself at the refreshment center now?
And let's come back around to House on Haunted Hill. So
we took a bit of a divergence there.
Yeah. So you talk about the things that would have scared the shit out of you in this movie right out the gate. The screams, the chains, the laughs of the ghosts and everything, like, but it's a black screen, right? Like, and all you hear is screams.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like 1959, you're just sitting there like, let's all go to the lobby. And then it goes to black. And then all of a sudden they're screaming and shit. Like,
yeah. Right. And like, and you get it. It's like I was talking about, like, imagine being in a theater, big screen. They don't have surround sound at the time, but it's loud. It's a lot louder than you're going to get on your little non surround sound TV at home that's coming out the little tinny speaker or whatever.
Yeah, your 8-inch television.
And in a darkened theater, so.
Oh, it
this definitely scared the shit out of people back then.
Yeah, it would absolutely. it would scare the crap out of you. And then you go straight to a floating head, like warning you about, like, basically what you're about to see. This haunted house. It's the most haunted house in the world or whatever he says. And then Vincent Price's floating head rolls up and kind of explains the story. But like that would, that'd be like, oh God, what the hell have I gotten into? When you're seeing this in 1959. They do a nice job of like dumping some exposition on you pretty quick though.
Oh yeah.
Like here, it's a really haunted house. Vincent Price, what do you have to say? Then he comes in and explains, like, I've invited these people to come stay at the house for one night for $10,000. Like, boom, there's the whole story, like in 2 minutes.
And by the way, what's $10,000? That's $10,000 in 1958 is quite a bit more now.
Yeah.
A few hundred, no, 100-something thousand.
Let's see the inflation calculator. Let's bring that up. 1959, how much? Okay, so $10,000. Hold on, let me put it in. What's 10,000? Carry the 2. That's the equivalent to. Oh, wait a minute, what? Okay, that'd be about $114,000. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that was right. I was close.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah,
I said 100-something thousand.
Let's call it 115. It's $115,000 in today's money to come spend the night in this house, and you cannot leave. Remember, that's the gimmick. Like, once they lock the doors at midnight, it's impossible to get out of here because of the design of this house. Like, all the windows have
traction
bars, and it's based in stone or whatever the hell. Like, you're not getting out of here. So, like, midnight they lock the doors. You're not getting out. You got to stay all night, and it's supposedly super haunted, right? That's the whole gimmick of the movie. But they explain all this in like 2 minutes. So boom, here we go. Yeah. Here's the cars going up the road. They introduce all the characters, and like less than 5 minutes, you're already in the house, and here we go. So like it's quick that way for sure.
Yeah, I like that. Get on with it kind of thing. Well, you don't have a whole bunch of character development. I mean, you still get some character development, but you don't need it. Here in the beginning, they just lay everything out, who the people are, what they do, and all. Yeah.
They explain the players. Now here we go, and then you get to learn. You get to learn to know these people as you go along over the next 15 minutes or so. But it's
but you don't need another half hour to get to know who they are to begin with. Because you got that quick narration off the top
before something happens.
Yeah. Cuts the runtime down, makes it a little bit more. I mean, that would have been a lot.
Oh yeah,
there would have been a lot more you would have had in there if you tried to do all that in characterization of them introducing themselves to each other and who they are and all that shit for a good 20 minutes.
For a movie that's an hour and 15 minutes, it'd be hard to make this thing slow. Although there are a couple of spots that are a little slow, but not much. It keeps up.
Yeah, those are just your typical things you get from the 50s movies, right? Or from older movies.
Yeah, exactly.
And things you're just used to if you watch them. But a modern audience watching older movies that aren't used to them will probably find those parts really draggy, right?
I love the relationship between, Vincent Price and his wife in the movie here, the Laurens. Their relationship where they're jealous, they don't trust each other. They're basically like, she tried to poison me at some point, so they clearly just hate each other's guts. Like, and this is established very quickly. What is this, like his fourth wife? I think they say something like that.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, they don't say billionaire, they say millionaire. So he's like a millionaire who just like runs through wives, like it's nothing. And this is just the fourth one. They call this party because she wanted it apparently, but he says she wanted it, but she didn't want it like this. So, but they got this weird relationship, very tense. They hate each other relationship, right? But a few things happen along the way. The blood dripping from the ceiling. I mean, it's not as hardcore as the shears stuck in the throat in The Ghost of Mr. Chicken. It's nothing like that. But they're like, you see the blood stain. They look up at the ceiling, and then all of a sudden, blood drips down on the woman's hand. And the guy's like, "You've been marked for death.
You're marked.
Yeah, the ghosts are going to kill your ass. You're done."
Steven Seagal is going to break your damn shins and stuff.
The vat of acid. Now, I know they explain it like, oh, yeah, well, like some terrible shit has happened in this house. Well, they say 7 people. I think it's 7 people have died in this house up to this point. And that's supposedly the ghosts that are haunting this joint. One of the people, or some of the people that died, got tossed into this pit that's in the basement. And it's just a fucking vat of acid. And he still got the acid in there. I guess like,
it's been there all these years.
Yeah. Like he's like, yeah, this happened. And they're like, God almighty, there's still acid in there. Yep. They don't explain it, and then he just,
Well, we don't really know how the fuck to get rid of it at this point.
Yeah. I actually did stop and think about that. I'm like, well, how actually would you get it the fuck out of there? I guess they didn't worry about it, clearly. Because they just have like this little hatch they raise up with a rope. Like it's either open or closed. And there's the fucking vat of acid, So that's conveniently there. It's the 50s because all the casual drinking, too. All the, like, you want to drink? Yeah, scotch and. I think she says it like multiple times. Like, when they don't know what to do, they just fucking go to that room and start drinking again. Like 3 or 4 separate times. That's the 50s.
I guess that's one way to pass the night in the haunted house.
Yeah, well, I mean, like...
At least it's not going to happen. You'll be drunk enough that it's...
Well, like,
matter.
That's the other thing, too. Like, I was thinking, like, they make it a point to point out this house doesn't have electricity. So a few things I'm dwelling on as I'm watching it, like, man, it would be hot as fuck in that house. It'd be stuffy as hell. Now, I don't know how common air conditioning was back then. Probably not, but... Yeah, that would be stuffy as hell in a house. Let's just start there. Secondly, all the lights are candles. You notice some, You notice some of those fucking chandeliers had like 85 candles on it. Like,
yeah,
you'd need a team of 20 guys just to keep all these fucking candles lit in this joint. I thought that was pretty crazy. Okay, so we got to get to the old hag. The old hag, who apparently it turns out she's just like the wife of the caretaker or something like that, right? She's blind or something. So I guess she just wanders around the house. But that part, when she shows up, there's 2 parts really where she shows up that would scare the living shit out of you. And I do believe, if I recall all the way back to the first time I watched this movie, I think that second time when she turns up, because remember there's the first time where she's kind of off in the distance. She just kind of emerges out of the shadow.
Yeah.
She emerges out of the shadows and just kind of rolls backward.
Back into it.
And, of course, the woman starts screaming. But then the second time she shows up, where the woman's like, knock on the wall, like, put the candle back. It's that bit. They're knocking on the wall or whatever. And then she's like, yep, I hear you. And then she turns around and she's standing there.
It's like right in the camera. Like full
Dude, I'm pretty sure the first time I watched that, God knows when, it scared me. I was like, bah!
Yeah.
She's just there with her hands out like, bah! And then she just rolls away. Now, I'm pretty sure I remember watching this years ago. Maybe it's some shitty cut of it. You could see the tracks on the ground. This time I watched it, I didn't notice it. Like, it edited it out maybe, or they cropped it out or something. But I remember seeing this at some point. You could almost see, like, the little platform.
Track that they pulled her on.
Like, somebody's just pulling her off screen, so she floats along and then just floats away. But you could see it. But yeah, this time I didn't notice it. But it's parts, like, it would scare the hell out of you, and it did to me legitimately. Like, but it's equal parts funny too, because it's just, and the makeup job on her, man, like, holy hell.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah, because they're like, it's an extreme close up, white eyes, like pockmarked, scratched up, nasty face.
Yeah.
It's like, who is this? And it turns out she's just the dude's wife. Then there's a couple of little things throughout. Like, there's a severed... And this is where, like, the movie's, like, part, like, is this really supernatural ghost shit, or is it somebody fucking with somebody? Because I think in the end...
Yeah.
It's not, right? Like, in the end, the way this all goes, like, there's nothing supernatural here, right? But I don't think.
I don't think so, anyway. I don't get that. That's not how I read it, anyways, yeah. That it's not, there's no supernatural element, that it's
some of it's
made
like
up
fucking with people for various reasons. I guess really, here we go again, gaslighting.
Yeah. This is an entire movie about gaslighting. It's probably one of the better movies about what the whole plot involves. That.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's pretty effective, because essentially what I guess we can kind of fast forward to like what the whole point of it is the couple, the Laurens, they hate each other so much that like basically one is trying to kill the other. That's what's going on here. They're trying to kill each other. And the whole point of calling this party, having these people there, is kind of like the charade to gaslight the younger girl, Nora, into shooting Frederick, right?
Yeah.
So like they're going to scare the shit out of her so much and give her a gun and gaslight her so much. And like that there's ghosts that like eventually
she's going
to shoot whoever walks into the room and they plan it in such a way where Frederick is the one that walks into the room. So that's their plan to kill him. He has his own plan to kill her with that vat of acid that's so appropriately there for no reason at all. So that's what essentially plays out, right? But along the way, there's a severed head in a box. She opens up a box and there's a fucking severed head in it.
Yeah.
There's another time where like the dude opens up a closet and there's a severed head hanging in the closet.
Yeah, and he pulls it up by the hair and takes it out. And
like one of those like a shrunken head.
Head. Yeah,
but not shrunken. Kind of. He's just carrying around. Like he didn't give a fuck either. He's just like, hey, look, it's a fucking head. So that's what I mean is like it's debatable. Are they real or not? I don't know. They never explain it. Are those real heads?
Like where did the heads come from? Are they just props? I'm guessing they were props, but I mean because otherwise they would have had to kill other people, and that would kind of like that would sort of take away from the whole gaslighting thing, trying to make it look, that they weren't killing each other or something.
Because really, along the way, the only quote unquote death that happens until you get to the end is the wife Annabelle. It looks like she hung herself. Like she's hanging from the top of the steps. She's dead. And they carry her and put her on the bed. Turns out she was not dead. They had like some kind of little hanging harness on her back. And she was faking her death. So her and the guy that's the doctor in the house, the guy that doctor or whatever his name was, that he's a part of this party. Basically her and him are having an affair and they're trying to kill Frederick. And like I said, meanwhile, he's got his own plan to push them into the acid vat. So yeah, that's eventually what happens is Nora comes along, doesn't know it's Frederick, shoots him, or maybe she does and doesn't care. She shoots him. You think he's dead. And then Annabelle comes in to the room and a skeleton rises out of the acid vat and it's talking like it sounds like Vincent Price. And she starts obviously freaking out and she backs up to the vat of acid and the skeleton, I love that too, where the skeleton just like, meh, and it pushes her. They do the perfect little motion with me, and it just pushes her into the vat. So now she's dead. But the skeleton that pushes her is the skeleton of the dude that was her lover, right? That's the doctor guy. So because they got into him and Frederick got into a scuffle, and you don't see it happen because the lights go out. But you assume like Vincent Price wins the fight, sticks him into the vat of acid. He's a skeleton. Uses his skeleton as a puppet to push her into that vat of acid. So now they're both dead, and at the end, basically, he's like, well, I had to fight for my life, and I'm going to let the wheels of justice determine my fate. That's essentially how it ends. So, but the last line is Watson, the guy that owns the house, the guy at the very beginning, he says the first line and the last line, he says, they're coming for me now, and then they'll come for you. Now, I'm going to assume that's when they would have flown out and scared the dog shit out of you.
Yeah, I would think so. That's probably the key point
at which. And now they'll come for you, and then a skeleton comes out of nowhere and scares the piss.
Then a whole bunch of little bratty kids with their slingshots.
It's that skeleton! Get him! Yeah, there you go. There was one other scene in there too, where like you think Annabelle's dead, and then Nora sees Annabelle's ghost in the window, like the reverse rope.
Oh yeah!
How the fuck did they do that? How do you explain that?
I know.
How do you explain that without ghosts or supernatural or something? I don't know what the hell. But like the rope comes in the window and wraps around her legs, and then there's like a ghost of Annabelle floating toward her, and then she floats back, and the rope retreats. So it's effective, but it's bullshit. So I don't know how they pulled it off, but I mean it's not April Fool's Day level bullshit. At least we see some death. But
yeah,
there you go. House on Haunted Hill. Good shit. Classic William Castle flick. So Donnie brought it to the table. Obviously, he's not here, but he did leave his rating. So he gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So he highly rated House on Haunted Hill. So, Smoke, what do you say?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I mean, I've seen it more than a handful of times, and it's one of those you could just. I mean, for me at least, I can watch, again, and I mean, after a little while. I mean, well, I don't watch it every year or anything, but every so often pull it out and watch it, and it's just as good as it was before.
Mhm.
I enjoy these types of movies in the 50s. I love them, and classic horror, and when it's done right, when it's I'm okay with the pacing. You get used to that, but this one moves along pretty good because it is only what, an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it definitely does move along pretty good. Like you said, there's a couple of places that maybe drag a little bit, but that's just indicative of these movies anyway. Sometimes you get movies that have a lot more dragging in it, and I'm even okay with those, with the dialogue-driven 50s horror movies and stuff. But this one doesn't do that. I think it's well paced. It is definitely, like I said before, my favorite movie involving the whole plot is a gaslighting routine.
Yeah.
Probably is my favorite of those types of movies. That was a big sort of plot device in the 50s. This is putting it in the very forefront. And you pretty much kind of get that. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember the first time I saw this movie, whether I thought that what was going on was going on as far as the actual scares and things, because it seems like they're building towards something that's going to be not real, not an actual supernatural event or whatever. And of course, you find out that that is what's going on. But it's not something that's going to, you aren't going to, that's not going to be a twist. Like, oh, God, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
You kind of.
Yeah, you put it together fairly quickly. I mean,
quickly. Yeah, even before they start letting on to it. At least I guess I assume so. I don't know. I can't remember the first time I've seen it. And I've seen it a lot of times. So
Yeah.
so I don't remember that first time watching it, whether I was thinking that was supernatural or not in the beginning. But everybody does good as far as the performances in here. And like I said, that opening narration is cool. I always like that anyway. And that's a big thing of some of these older movies. You get that, not necessarily a full exposition of them saying what these people are, but you get an intro type thing sometimes, right? Into the plot of what's going on somewhat. I'll probably I'll give it 4. I really enjoy this one.
All right, Tiana, what do you say?
Oh, yeah, this is a good classic one that you could watch quite a few times, and it's still entertaining, especially if it's the price.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll give it a 4 too.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I'm gonna make it a solid 4 across the board there, because this is really well done, fast paced. I mean, but it can't help but be when it's only an hour 15. But I have seen some movies, 40s and 50s movies that are slower even than this, that have the same runtime. So yes, you can make them drag even at that runtime. This one doesn't do that. I mean, and it gets right to it too. I love that. Like you said, Smoke. Like, all right, here, dump. Here we go. In the beginning, like, let's just boom, let's go into the house. So like, I love that, and it grabs your attention too. I remember watching this like stone cold back when I was younger, like not really knowing what it was, other than like, oh, it's a haunted movie. Let's see what this is, and it grabs you right out the gate. It keeps you interested enough, and to see like, oh, how's this going to play out? So like, it's just one of those type of whodunits that you figure out maybe about halfway through, but it's still entertaining enough to see how it goes. Even with the double turn and all that stuff. So, yeah, really well done, Vincent Price. Probably one of his best, or definitely one of my favorites from him for sure, if not one of his best. William Castle at the height of his powers here, right? So, yeah, it's all good stuff. So, yeah, 4 stars across the board from the Spook Show crew. Well deserved. Donnie didn't give me any connections. And like I said, I don't know. I don't recall right out the gate if we've done anything with Vincent Price. The only connection I could think of was The Old Dark House with William Castle over on Hammer Horror and Order.
Yeah.
There might have been something else with a couple other people, but on the surface, not, I don't know how many connections would be here, but so we'll skip that for now. But Tiana, what kind of kill count could you come up with for House on Haunted Hill?
Not very many, but it was 2.
Yeah, and there's the 2 that we explained there at the end, right? The
the
cheating wife and the doctor who was her lover, both thrown into the acid pit, the conveniently placed acid pit. Let's talk about the kill reel.
Highlight kill.
Only 2 people die, and you did not see the doctor because you hear like scuffling and then a yell, and then it goes dark, so you don't see it happen. But you did see her get pushed into the acid vat, so that's your highlight kill.
Yeah.
Her getting pushed into an acid vat. So, Smoke, that leads you to a grand gore score. What you got?
Gore score.
Well, I mean, it's just going to get slightly more than your usual typical fare from the 50s, and the reasoning for that is the blood stain's not that big a deal. It's just on the ceiling and it drips on her hand, but there's a little bit of blood. At least you don't always get blood. In 50s horror, you get the mention of it often, vampire movie or whatever, vampire sucking blood, but you don't always see blood in these movies. So there's a little bit there, not enough to really raise it much yet. But then you also get 2 severed heads. Mm-hmm. Are they real? Probably not. They're probably prop heads. Yeah. But it's implied that they're severed heads, and they're cool looking props.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That one that was like hanging up in the closet, the kind of shrunken head looking one, I think that had a little bit of spine cord on it or something. Like
yeah.
There was something hanging off the bottom of it.
And then the one that was in the box also had it was like glistening, like it was, like it was still rotting, the flesh on it or something.
You nailed it, because that's the same word I was thinking of. Yeah, it was like a glistening severed head. It
like putrescence or whatever.
Yeah.
The glistening putrescence on that. Yeah. So those 2 things combined with the blood, and then you get the acid vat, but you get skeletons that come up out of the acid vat, and you get, so I think I'm gonna go with at least a 1. At least raises it to a 1. It's not gory, but it's more than 0. It's not 0. It's not.
And nothing. Remember, I agree with you, but remember there was that one part too where he's like, it's an acid vat, and then he picks up like a rat or something, and then throws it in there. And,
and the funny thing was the skeleton comes up totally bleached white.
Yeah. Oh, that's the way.
Wow, that's a strong acid.
That's the way acid
that's
works,
how it works. Dude. Yeah.
That's what I learned growing up. That and quicksand, like those 2 things. Like,
yeah. As soon as you jump in there,
get rid of everything except for the bones, and it's going to bleach it pearly white. And quicksand. Those are the things.
That's right. Well,
yeah. Well,
we learned those.
I think it earns a 1 though. It's not like super gory. Obviously, it's 1959, but for these type of movies, you get a little bit more than you.
You get a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Well, that's enough for House on Haunted Hill. So Tiana, the floor is yours. Next week, the only criteria you have is that it has to be a newer flick, a horror movie, that is. So our newer criteria is between 2000 and 2021. So that being said, what are we watching next week?
I'm gonna.
As you have a dog on you like a parrot. If only this were a video medium right now, you'd see this.
I'm gonna go with kind of in the middle there of the years, but something, since spooky season's coming up, I figured something pretty scary. And actually, it's one that scientists have said that this is the scariest movie ever.
Uh-oh.
According to scientists.
Okay.
But I mean, I got to see it opening night, and it was pretty scary. But I'm gonna go with 2012's Sinister.
Wow. Which that spawned a handful of movies, right? Like that was the beginning of a little franchise. Wasn't there more than one of those, I believe?
Yeah, they just had one more, and that was it.
Okay.
That didn't do well, so.
I don't believe I've seen it. If I have, it was in one ear out the other back then, but I don't think I've seen it, believe it or not. So
I hadn't seen it until we met. Me and Tiana met.
Yeah, I made sure I showed him.
We watched this. I hadn't seen it before then.
We watched it before we went and saw the second one.
Was it on the first date? Like, hello, my name is Tiana. We must watch Sinister.
I don't remember how many years ago it was now.
Well, I mean, it's at least since 2012, so it's been a while. Well, there you go. So I'm pretty sure it's a first time watch for me, and hopefully we have Donny back next week, and we'll see what this is all about. So yeah, like Tiana said, we're kind of entering the home stretch of spooky season, quote unquote, kicking it off with this because, that will come out on August 31st. And before you know it, we're in the middle of September. We got something special planned for Labor Day, but we've got other stuff coming up after that. I mean, we're fastly approaching, believe it or not, the Spookshow Awards. That'll be sometime in late September, early October, usually, right? And then, of course, we got our anniversary show on Halloween. So lots of stuff coming up. So you don't want to miss out. So go to aaspookshow.com, check out all the stuff on YouTube. Go become a patron of the Spook Show by going to patreon.com/aaspookshow and get in on the ground floor. Be with the cool kids. So that's it. So for Donny, who couldn't be with us, Tiana, Professor Smoke, I'm Josh. We are the All American Spook Show, and we will talk to you next week for Sinister.